Anyways, when we last left our intrepid heroes, you had met your new friend while you were digging through your great aunt's very burned up house.
I thought it was
It
an
was
uncle.
Uncle, sorry. Yep, the aunt was the one with the bone people. Anyways, and other than the tiefling that was locked in what you assume was your uncle's coffin with a bunch of nails, there was no other signs of life. And then a creature had attacked you and tried to kill you, thinking it had sprung a trap on you, and then it died. So then the party trekked for several days across the desert till they reached the gates of Terra Lineth. It's white sandstone rising up, a solid white wall around the outer edge of the city, and behind it some tall buildings and towers, all built out of the exact same sandstone. As you enter the city, what is the party's first desire?
Have we rested or anything?
No, I think we should head straight for Balthazar to let him know we're back.
Okay, but not until I light this blunt first.
Okay. And we gotta let him know that this tiefling is friendly, so that the town guards don't, attempt to accost him in the night or something.
I don't know, I'm still deciding about this tiefling. Just
He
kidding.
kind of helped us whoop those bad guys' butts, so...
Yeah, I want to know his background story.
You guys do own a house in this city if you wish to return there and rest, as you have been traveling most of the night.
Yeah. I'll let Megan decide, but that's kind of where I was geared towards, is rest and go to him in the morning.
Alright. Let's go rest.
So you make your way through the city streets. And while the streets are quiet, you do occasionally hear the sounds of somebody shuffling around or someone see somebody down the street walking somewhere. And the party, the other two lead you through the city. You're just kind of walking, marveling, looking at it, as they lead you to this large manor house with this large gate at the front, and as you approach, you open up the gate because you have the key, and you enter into the front door, and the main chamber has several standing pools of water. And the first thing you notice is the scraping of clawed feet across the stone floor as, I believe, 16 jackals come racing to the door to greet you.
And I just go, hi guys, and I hand them some dried meat out of my pockets.
You quickly ascertain that these are pets. Capable of violence, certainly, but pets. And you enter into the house. Inside of the house, it's quiet. You see there is a guard on duty that has been placed at the front door that greets you. Hello, your milady, your majesty. It is we were not informed that you would be returning to the city tonight. I would have had a better reception set up for you.
Oh no. This is fine. We just got here. We need to rest before we take any visitors.
All right. He says, all right. We will most certainly. He rings a little bell, feverishly, and out comes this one servant, kind of bleary-eyed. Yes, what? Oh, my lady, your majesty. Yes, right this way to your rooms. And guard says, have a good night. As the servant leads you up to both of your rooms, and then go ahead.
At this point, I would like to respectfully dismiss my blood bags and tell them to get as much rest as they need.
Your 2 blood bags unload their things at your manor house. Thank you, milady. It has been a pleasure serving you.
I need a cookie and build up those white blood cells.
After dropping the first 2 off, the servant woman says, we have a guest chamber. It will take me a minute to make up. She leads you down the hall and leads you into this room. She says, take a seat, and you look at the comfy couch that's positioned against the wall, and the bed that's set up with a large headboard. There are sheets folded up on the end, but not put over the bed. They hadn't planned on using this bed. But she very quickly puts the sheets out. And, is there anything else I can get for you, honorable guest?
Honestly, this is more than I've had in a long time.
Oh, and I'm going to poke my head in and just be like, this guest is of just as high status as me and your majesty, so make sure he gets breakfast when he wants it. I don't know.
How is Darwin feeling? Has Darwin been exposed to the titles of his compatriots before now?
I don't think so.
No, I strictly wandered into a house and things went tits up, and now I'm here, and so it's been a long time since I've even stayed in a hotel room, honestly.
Well,
that was great.
You were staying in the guest mini apartment. But you all do manage to get a long rest, waking up early afternoon. You are now in the manor house. It's probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Once you're all up and mobile and moving around. Where would you like to go from here as you're sitting down having a late lunch?
Can we get to Balthazar's through the sewers?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just couldn't remember. It was so long ago when we went through there.
We should definitely head down that way. I was going to suggest that.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's probably a little eager to see his queen. His queen to be.
Yeah. I'm just a gold digger, remember that. There ain't no feelings there.
Yeah, I know. Queen boo. And he's just doing this for political reasons, so it's perfect.
I'm going to own that shit.
You gotta keep up appearances, though.
Oh, yeah.
Is this a conversation you're having over lunch?
Sure.
As long as it's just us around.
I mean, a couple servants floating around bringing in food and stuff.
I will cut their tongues out.
Well, they're all kind of assigned here by Balthazar, so I assume they're not going to say anything.
I whispered to Megan that she should go eat those servants so I don't have to deal with them later.
I look over at one of them that's, I'm looking for the plumpest one, and I'm going to just, lick my fangs a little bit.
Is there like a smorgasbord of food on the out, like a platter?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. All sorts of foods are being brought out for you. Like this is top quality stuff too.
Okay, it's been a while since I've had an actual meal aside from rations, so I'm kind of hand fisting little bits here and there, stuffing bread rolls into my pouch.
I'll whisper to him that I'll give him something to eat.
Come on. We're 3 minutes into this, John.
I've had a few beers.
It's all good. Zan just politely ignores the conversation.
I am a female character, just so buddy knows.
Oh,
So it's not too weird. Just sort of awkward.
Still just kind of like hand fisting both things of food, kind of look over and like, eh.
I'll just be like sipping from a really fancy goblet and just like passing platters of food over to Darwin. Just like, here, have as much as you want, whatever.
I'm mukbanging anything that's on that table.
All right, so after more than getting your fill of, they just, as food was running out, they were bringing out more. So once you had eaten your fill, you get yourselves ready and you head down into the basement of the manor house, through the grate and down into the tunnel system.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
As you're moving through the tunnels underneath the city, you pass by a couple different doorways before you come to this one doorway that you know leads up to the staircase in Balthazar's house. You crack open the door, and you start heading up the spiral staircase at the bottom. Standing at the top, you see a guard looking down at you. He's kind of squinting down into the darkness as you come out of it. He kind of waves a hand and says, go tell His Majesty that the Queen and the Princess have returned, and they are here. And you hear somebody rush out of the door. My Queen, he bows and says, we were not expecting you unannounced like this. We are sorry. How may I serve you, my Queen? Did I drop?
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
John?
No, I did cut out for a second. Now I hear.
Okay, good.
That was probably me that cut out, Caleb.
All good. So the guard standing there has sent somebody to let Balthazar know that you have arrived. He says, how may I serve my queen?
Well, we're back on from our adventure that you sent us on. I don't know, however long ago. How long ago was that now?
You guys have been gone for
game
2
days.
We had to be gone for a while.
Yeah, it was like 16 days.
Okay, that's not so bad.
18 days,
I feel
sorry.
like, did we accomplish, because we were supposed to meet 3 people, did we go to those? I can't even remember. Did we get to all 3 of them?
Oh, we got to all 3, but one was missing. But
okay, so what I want to do then is tell them about our escapades and our successes, and the fact that there's still one of these people that is MIA, and maybe ask if he's heard back from any of them. Our SVP shit.
You are talking to a guard who, as you're telling him this, his eyes are getting wider and wider and wider as you get to the point about going to hell.
I missed that part. Okay. Where's my boo?
His Majesty. Yes, His Majesty is in the Grand Hall. We sent word. You know your way to the Grand Hall. I'm sorry, I cannot abandon my post.
Carry me to the Grand Hall.
As you wish. He gets into a piggyback position.
Nice. I hop on and say, giddy up.
I would like you to make me an acrobatics check to leap on top of him.
Uh-oh.
If this works, Zan is going to stay behind to guard the door while he's gone.
This ain't gonna work. I rolled a 10.
You exceeded his acrobatics score or his strength check. So between the two of you, you land on him and he stumbles to the side for a second as he kind of adjusts, and as you're going, "Giddy up!" he trudges forward one step after the other, trying to go as fast as he can. And as he's being ridden by the queen, so he can't really say no.
No, you can't.
He can try.
So Zan, you're staying by the staircase. Darwin, what are you doing as the elven woman rides the guard out of the room?
I'm just watching all of this unfold.
I'm gonna light a match on the guard's stubble and then light a blunt with it as he's galloping.
I'm gonna nod down the hallway and say, Darwin, we better go keep an eye on her. Tell the guard I'll wait here for his return.
I'll follow suit with this piggyback ride, I suppose.
My backup.
So you're, about 10, 15 feet behind him. A easy walking pace, though. As you travel down the halls of this lavish building. Like, the manor house was nice, but this place is exquisite. And there are servants bustling left and right and going all over the place. And
I'm
guards
making sure I'm ashing in each direction as they clean it up behind me.
Just kind of like wide-eyed, walking behind this, pull the bun out of my pocket, just kind of munching on it.
Oh, I
Hey,
love
got an extra bun, bro?
Oh,
I got
yeah.
two.
Pull another one out.
I like your buns. Here we go.
All right. So, as you guys are traveling along the halls, you come to this long set of double doors that open into a large, long chamber with a couple pillars in the middle. At the very end is a throne room surrounded by a handful of other people, and sitting on the throne is a very old man sitting there in his dark blue robes, his bald head shining and his beard down to his belly button, kind of sitting there at a point. And the people are talking, and you can tell it's like it looks like a high court situation. And Balthazar looks miserable.
Oh.
I'm actually going to take this point to just kind of like dust myself off and cast Prestidigitation, just kind of like clean myself up. I have been wandering the desert for the last little bit, so.
Do you know how long it took me to say that spell name properly? Gosh, it was terrible.
I still didn't even know what he said, so.
There's too many consonants in it.
So you're casting Prestidigitation on yourself as you're entering the room.
Prestidigitation.
It lets him clean 1 square foot of material as a cancel.
Oh, shit.
And a couple other things, but that's what he's using it for right now.
Cool spell, okay.
You can also cause it to have someone else and have shit in their pants.
Yes.
You can also soil 1 square foot of things with it too, yes.
This particular one, I'm going to use it to clean myself up a little bit. I feel a little underdressed for this occasion.
I was gonna say something.
Uh-oh.
I'm dressed like Katana from Mortal Kombat right now.
I like it. That's awesome.
Oh, you guys.
I know. We'll never get through this story.
As you come in riding the guard, do you want him to walk to the end of the room and carry you all the way to your husband to be?
Well, he makes horse sounds.
Nay. 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 Drop. Nay. As he does his best gallop towards the front of the room.
So when
turns and lowers you down to your feet, and then promptly leaves the room.
Before he leaves, though, I just want to whisper to him that I'm gonna hook him up through the king here because he's my new favorite guard. So he's gonna be set now.
Thank you, my lady. My name is Gerald.
I interrupt him because horses don't speak English.
Nay.
Okay.
He just walks out of the room defeated.
My new horse. Okay, awesome.
Oh. People, of course, are looking at you as you've entered the room riding a guard.
This is some good shit I'm smoking.
Yes, smoking a doobie, eating a bread roll, riding a guard. The people of the court are, of course, staring at you. More so, Darwin, than you even noticed that even though you're underdressed for a situation like this, they're paying more attention to her than they are you. You get a couple glances, but, you know... As Balthazar rises from his... Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to like awkward bows when I look at somebody's subtle direction. Just like, hi.
I'm gonna signal to him not to bow to anyone. He doesn't need to bow anymore, except to Balthazar, I guess.
I mean, he is the king, or king to be. The party's really going to have to put Darwin in on what the hell is going on at some point. As you dismount from and let your horse trot away, Balthazar stands up. Oh, my darling bride-to-be, it is so good to see you. I am overjoyed at your return. He turns and says, I would like some alone time with my bride-to-be, so the rest of you can politely leave. Yeah, others start shuffling out, talking amongst themselves. As soon as they're all gone, he sits back down on his throne and goes, Dear God, I hate them.
Except for that one guard that rode me in there. That guy's cool. I think we should hook that guy up.
Has the guard made it back downstairs?
Yeah, the guard does make it back to the stairs. It takes him a while coming down the hallway because you see the way he's walking. He's just kind of defeated.
I toss him 2 gold pieces as I let him resume his post.
He no longer has a post. He's my horse.
That's the post that you tie him to.
Yeah. I'm going to put a literal post in that spot and tie him up to it.
Oh my lord.
Jesus. Alrighty.
But his family will live in a luxurious house, right, Balthazar?
So I'll make my way.
A raise can be arranged for him due to his ability to go above and beyond.
And quintuple salary. As the royal horse.
Why not just assign him as your personal bodyguard then?
No, personal horse.
Whatever.
Okay, deal. He is now my personal horse/bodyguard. Or human shield, if need be.
I'm gonna regret this.
Yep.
So, Balthazar turns to you and says, So you have returned. What of my brothers and sisters?
Okay, so I fill him in on everything that's happened and the one that is MIA.
Zan, you enter the room at about this point.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to telepathically, if I can take over for a moment, I'm going to telepathically link with Darwin. And because I can do that. And I'm just going to be like, hey, yeah, so this city, we kind of ended up here on a fluke. ran into some council members that ended up not really liking us, so we killed the council members, which left the city in a bit of chaos. And then this vampire family here, Balthazar's family, asked us to help eradicate the other vampire families in town so that they could take over, so we did that. That's when I became a vampire because I almost died. And yeah, and then political/money reasons, Balthazar and Lupini are going to get married. And that's pretty much it. And somehow this makes me a princess, and you know what, you're our friend, so you get all the perks too.
You just see a lot of nodding, like, mm-hmm.
Like, yep, this happens all the time.
That was cool, and then we had to put a big Tyrannosaurus Rex skull over her head, or over her body while we fought in sunlight.
Oh, yeah. And then there was that time that Jeff tried to kill me.
Yeah.
Casting daylight when I'm in the open.
Yeah, we were still getting used to the vampirism thing here at that point, though.
And then he encased me in a wall of fire. While I was on a metal structure. So it got very hot.
That was, we almost lost Megan a few times throughout this campaign.
I'm a little restless.
Despite being a vampire, we have almost lost her several times, yes.
Yeah.
So as you're filling him in on the last one, he kind of shakes his head. It's not good. He looks at you and goes, "You know they want the jar, right?"
Well, we took out a lot of the cultists that are after the jar, so hopefully that'll make a dent in things and make it a little easier for you. And we blew up their jar.
What's that?
We blew up their jar. They put us in a jar. We blew that up and killed a bunch of masked men.
Creepers.
One hand of an octopus.
Fair.
My granddaughter. Darwin, you realize that this guy in front of you, while he's a vampire, is human. And Zan is a halfling.
Okay.
I'm a granddaughter in vampire terms only. His son turned me.
Oh.
Yes. So as Balthazar is sitting there, he goes, I have some bad news for you, unfortunately. Your elderly friend, Gregory.
The prophet.
He's ill. He's been having these fevers. I've had him taken to one of the hospitals so that he could be cared for, but he hasn't been lucid in several days. I would recommend seeing him tonight.
Zan's like ready to run out the door. She likes the prophet. He's crazy. He helped them overthrow the city. Without even knowing what he was doing, probably.
Probably not. So he says you can't go out in the street right now, and there unfortunately was the main pathway underground to the hospital caved in a few years ago. There is a way that was tunneled around it, but there are creatures that have crawled in there, and we've gated it off to keep them out of the rest of the system.
Zan flips her dagger in her fingers. Like someone would do with a coin. She rolls her dagger through her fingers, and she's like, it's not gonna stop me. And then, as almost an afterthought, she stops, and she says, grandfather, this gentleman here. This is Darwin, and we met him. At your late brother's house. He appeared to be a victim of an attack as well. I don't know if he has any other information that might interest you about what happened there. It's all really kind of a crazy time. But he has proven himself to be quite trustworthy, and we'd like him to be considered a friend.
He turns and looks at you, his piercing eyes looking almost into your soul. You were the last person to likely see my brother alive, the lord of the manor that you went to.
Yep.
When you were there, did you see him?
I don't believe I did. I believe that I had met with some servants. They said it was okay if I stayed for the night. And then everything went straight to hell in a handbasket. I was supposed to meet somebody later on in the day or evening, but unfortunately things went south real fast.
When he mentions hell in a handbasket, I smirk at Lupini and went and say, well, we took a boat.
Yeah.
He nods and says, I'm glad you survived. You appear to be the only one.
That is unfortunate.
He looks back at Lupini and says, plans for the wedding are going ahead as scheduled. I've actually, my darling, I have consulted with a couple astronomers, and I'd like to move the date around because apparently they have predicted that there will be a solar eclipse across the city coming up in 1 month's time.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
That sounds awesome.
That's a good thing?
Yeah, Zan is super excited. She's like, we have a daytime wedding.
It is very rare that a vampire can say he was married at high noon in the middle of a town square for all to see.
Okay, let's do it.
Very well, I will have my servants attend to that. He kind of nods, and one of the servants in the corner is writing things down feverishly. Go see your friend.
We're gonna have a complete Tim Burton Gothic style wedding, right?
It's gonna be awesome.
I will have the wedding designers stop by your home tonight, darling, so that they may consult you on decisions.
Okay. All right. So, what about this MIA relative of yours?
He pauses and says, what do you think the odds of escape were?
The odds?
Not
do
great.
you think he's dead?
Board up a house and set it on fire so that the roof collapses by noon.
Okay, I'm going to assume that he's dead. All right, so what do we do next? Are we just killing time into this eclipse?
Well, we'll go see the prophet in the hospital, or at least Zan will. You can do shopping or whatever.
Why, because I'm a girl?
No, because I thought you might need to visit the church and get some
I need a wedding dress. I do need a wedding dress, so maybe I'll go do that.
So you round yourself up a posse of servants and
and my horse. I want to ride my horse. I want a horse. I want to get a nice saddle for my horse too.
Oh gosh, this poor guy.
The saddle's a courtesy.
I mean, they did just quadruple his rate of pay, so he's a very
Quintuple.
well-paid horse. Yeah, sorry, quintuple. This is degrading and dehumanizing, but at the same time, what you gonna do?
He can feed his
Right.
family.
So yes, you go out dress shopping and terrify every single dressmaker you go into because you want the best dress and you're going to be the queen, and they try and sell you on various different dresses. So you spend the rest of the afternoon parading. One.
The goal was to get a dress and then have it. I guess I need a. Do I need someone magical to make it? Because I want it enchanted so it like just has steady fire on the bottom that doesn't actually burn the dress but just stays there.
All right, so that's a second stop once the dress is made. But yeah, that is possible.
Okay, nice.
You are definitely draining the coffers.
That was the plan all along.
So Zan is taking the underground tunnels to go see the prophet.
Yep.
So Darwin, one of the party members, has left to go shopping with a bunch of servants and a blank check. And the other party member seems intent on heading back underground to go visit this Gregory. What would you like to do?
I would actually like to go and see this prophet. Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
You two head back down the spiral staircase, and following the directions that you were given, you make your way under the city, following the very well gridded out system, until you get to where the collapse was near the edge of town. But you see a tunnel that's been dug off to the left-hand side.
Well, I guess that's our way to go.
That is your way to go. As you begin heading down it, I would like you to roll me a perception check.
Heck yeah! First roll of the night. Sorry, I always get excited. 23.
Darwin?
Oh, sorry. That's it. 23 as well.
So the both of you, despite being underground in a poorly lit tunnel that's been dug by who knows what, it wasn't the people who made the other tunnels, that's for certain. But you do hear something skittering. Cats?
Rats. Gotta be. Hopefully they're the normal small variety.
Spiders, maybe?
Possibly.
As you continue down the pathway, out of the corner of your eye, you see this large red beetle skitter across the ceiling.
Gross.
When you say large, are we talking like the size of a mouse or like
a dog?
Yeah.
Like a Saint Bernard Husky mix.
Oh!
Oh!
That's a big-ass beetle.
You look up and you see on the ceiling there are probably a dozen of them just kind of moving around.
Going to quickly, just a little bit more, slowly, but fast.
I'd like you both to roll me either acrobatics or stealth.
Oh. We go with stealth. Try to be a little quiet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with stealth too.
That's a 17.
I got 31.
Ooh.
Think. Yep, 31.
You quietly creep, and as you're moving, you are super glad you didn't decide to light a torch. As you pass through the tunnels and pop out the other side, you kind of look back at them and they're all just kind of huddled together. I would like you both to make me a nature check.
That's a natural one.
Oh no. I got 19.
19. All right. You, looking at them, realize they're almost in like a sleeping formation. They're not like moving around a whole lot. So there's a good chance they're nocturnal.
Huh. All right. Well, at least we're traveling daytime. When it comes time for night, we can travel by road.
Yeah.
So you make your way up. You make your way up to the basement of this building, and as you're coming out of the basement, you do hear some people groaning off in the distance, and as you come out, you see multiple beds lining the walls. Not all of them are full right now, but there are people there with injuries and whatnot. A nurse watches you come out of this gate underneath the city that is quite heavily latched, and she's standing there in her plain brown dress with an apron on it. She looks at you and goes, what are you doing coming out of the underground? And who are you?
We're here to see Gregory.
Gregory,
Old man babbling nonsensically.
Ah, yes, him. Yes, he's up on the second floor in the east wing. May I ask, who are you, though, to come barging in? He's not well, last I heard.
As much as I can in my 3-foot, 30-pound stature, I give her a little glare and tell her I'm Princess Zan, and this is my guard. We will pass.
My apologies, Your Majesty. I had no idea, and I needed to make sure that hooligans weren't coming in from underground, and I didn't want to have to call security. A 1,000 apologies.
And Zan lets her expression soften and just, of course. And she tosses the nurse a gold piece. And I am tracking this, by the way, all the gold that I'm giving away.
You're making a lot of people very happy.
Yeah.
I just walk up and hand her another bun that I happen to have in my way. Say, you're doing a great job. And just like casually walk past.
That is so sweet.
That was supposed to be my bun.
She's kind of standing there dumbfounded and watching as you two just kind of head off towards the staircase that you pointed to, holding a gold piece and a bun. Lupini, while you are out dress shopping with the 3 servants, one of which is holding the coin purse and the other 2 are assisting in dress picking out, and they're currently showing you materials, and one of the seamstress asks, is there a particular color or dye pattern that you would like, Your Majesty?
I want to use the flesh of a suffering animal to make the dress I'm gonna wear.
She blinks 3 times. You want the flesh of a suffering animal to be turned into a supple leather to be worn as your wedding dress?
Yeah, the fear makes it softer.
Roll me persuasion.
Ooh, I'm good at that shit. 26.
You can see the conflict in this middle-aged this middle-aged this half-elf woman, and she's like sitting there like the flesh of a suffering animal, but then you see her eyes kind of flit over to the person holding the coin purse, and she goes, "That would be quite expensive, as it would be a one-of-a-kind dress."
That's the idea.
Yes. Is there a particular creature you had in mind?
Darkest, blackest, leatherest creature that exists. I want it to look like a shadow.
Ooh.
We may have to dye something to have it both supple and black, but that is totally possible. And you had mentioned you wanted some magic runing placed on it as well. What exactly is the effect of that? I'm sure we can arrange that.
The effect of that is to make it look badass, and other than that, it's going to be a glowing ring of fire around the bottom of the dress that never actually burns up.
She kind of nods and goes, I will have to come up with a proper quote, but I'm sure we can accommodate everything Your Majesty needs. Would
Charge
you
it
mind?
to the king. And bring my horse some water.
One of the servants runs to get water for your horse. She gets you up on the stool and starts taking measurements to make sure it's exactly the right size and everything is going to be customized to you, and no one will ever be able to wear this dress but you.
I like it.
Flipping back over to the other two, as you make your way up to the second floor, you enter into a long sandstone hallway with rooms jutting off of it. It takes you ask one of the staff as they're passing by for directions, and they point you down the hall to the room that Gregory is supposed to be in. As you kind of look on in, and you crack the door open, the wooden door opens slowly. You just hear not quite full words as you open the door and see him kind of tossing and turning in his bed, his sheets like kicked off, his hospital gown strewn all over the place. It looks like he's rolled over 6 times and almost tied it around him in a knot around his stomach.
I will rush to the bed and put my hands on his arm and try to get his attention. And I call him Gregory first and see if that gets a response. And if it doesn't, then I start calling him Prophet, because that's what I always called him. And I try and get him to focus on me. And I'm just calling his name. Prophet, it's me, Zen, I'm here.
As you place a hand on his arm, suddenly he sits bolt upright, and his other arm comes around and grabs you by the shoulder, and he just looks at you with his eyes suddenly wide open, but completely white as his eyes are rolled into the back of his head. On sunless noon fall terror on wings of light. And then he's looking around the room, his eyes still rolled back. He's pointing. Faceless! Faceless! Why are they faceless? He looks back at you. They come. They smell it. He looks back around the room. What do you want? Why are you underground? Stops almost as though he's listening. Why do the church bells ring? As he suddenly flops back over, asleep, snoring.
And I try and straighten out his hospital gown a little bit and cover him up. And I start telling Darwin, who's probably very confused, about how when we got to the city, this man was just preaching on a corner about how change was coming. And since we were new disciples of Groomba, we knew change was coming because that's what we were there to do, was bring change. And even without knowing us yet, the prophet had been predicting this, and then he got himself into a fine mess that we rescued him from, and he became our friend. And he certainly had a real name, but no one ever used it. And he has an odd way of knowing things.
Interesting. Curse with the gift of sight.
Yeah. So Zan is very confused and concerned about what the prophet said, because out of what she could make out, I mean, she heard on sunless noon, and Balthazar had been talking about an eclipse at noon. And that's enough to send her, or to make her want to hurry back to Balthazar to advise him of this, whether or not he knows anything about prophet or what he is capable of. That might be a whole different conversation, but it's definitely concerning.
So do you just go flying out of the room at that point after you've kind of straightened him out and tucked him back into bed?
Well, I'll ask Darwin if there's anything else he needs to do while we're out, or if it's okay if we go back.
Just so long for the ride at this point.
Zan nods and then hurries back towards the tunnel. I assume it's not dark enough yet to travel by street.
Where's your Demon Slayer box?
Well, I don't want to wait though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If it was... Who carries that? Do I carry that? Where is that box, Caleb?
Which box?
That Demon Slayer box we made to travel Megan in daylight.
Like the backpack style.
Yeah.
I think my blood bags had it, actually.
I'm pretty sure that was attached to the caravan, so it's probably been unloaded at the house by this point.
Well, we didn't think this through.
No. Oh well. It's kind of what Zan does best, not thinking things through.
I mean, you got here underground, you could try going back.
Yep. I just figured I wouldn't piss off the beetles unless I had to.
That's
the beetle.
Unless they've scattered by now.
John, I don't know if you've
So is your
noticed
plan to
or
go
interested in
immediately
it.
back to Balthazar's?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we need to figure out what the next steps are. So I guess it's the wedding and see what comes next. Or is there another expedition we can partake in?
John, I've been dropping wedding dress photos for you in chat. like in the Discord chat.
Oh, Megan, you're cutting in out there.
Oh no. Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, you're back.
Okay, good. I'm back. I'll stay back now. I hope. Okay. I should be good now.
Yay.
Here you know, yeah.
All right. So, what was your question? Sorry.
Me?
Yes, you had said something there, and then you started cutting.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna tell John that I was dropping pictures of black wedding dresses in Discord chat in case he was interested in perusing them. But I had to stop because it was messing up my internet connection.
That's what was happening.
Sad.
Right.
All right, so you guys are heading back. As you get back down the stairs and you go back through the gate, behind you, you hear the nurse latch the door. It's not locked, but there are multiple latches you had to open to get through it.
Yeah.
And you start moving through the tunnels again. I would like you both to roll me a stealth check again.
You bet.
Oh joy.
19. That's a low roll for me.
12.
For stealth, yeah.
12. As you are
Off the table.
As you are quietly moving through the tunnel, you're keeping an eye on the ones above you, making sure they aren't moving, and suddenly you bump into a rock, and the rock turns around.
Uh-oh.
I dory and try to skirt around the rock.
Alrighty. It lets out a screech and tries to come chase after you. Make me an athletics check.
Okay, that's better. Damn. 13.
Despite not having the best start having to move around this thing, you do manage to outpace it in its hungry fury, but you notice the ones on the ceiling have started to move as well. I would like one more athletics check out of the both of you as you race towards the gate that will lead you back into the regular sewers.
I mean, I suck at athletics. Can I make a case for acrobatics?
No, you're looking for speed and endurance at this point.
Okay, so that's a 3.
With modifiers?
Yep.
Natural 1.
I have no modifier to strength. So I rolled a 3, it's a 3.
Alrighty. Well, roll for initiative.
Yeah, I guess so. We're not gonna make it out of this one.
Not with those rolls, I'm sorry.
Well, it's better, but could have used it a moment ago.
What'd you get?
15.
17.
Okay. So they have caught up to you and are now surrounding you, coming in from the ceiling, coming down the walls. Zan, you are at the top of the order.
Woohoo! I am going to stab and green flame blade the closest one.
Alright, as it comes towards you, make your attack.
You betcha. That is 25 to hit.
Jesus.
And Darwin's right next to me, correct?
Yep.
Yeah! Did you hear all those dice? Oh, that was beautiful. 16, 20, 24 plus 7. 31 points of piercing. And
You skewer it through the brain, and then as you're pulling out you take out the eyes on the way out, as it's not a clean exit.
and it also takes 8 points of fire damage. And then if there's another beetle within 5 feet of it, it will take 11 points of fire.
You know what? Sure, what the heck. Another one behind it coming up suddenly gets blasted with this green bolt of fire, kind of gleams off its back. The beetles continue to lumber down the walls. Darwin, that puts you up next.
How big is this area that's currently, like, we're in a tunnel about how wide?
About 10 feet wide, about 15 feet high.
About how far are these things away from us at this particular moment?
Some of them are, like, on the walls coming down towards you. Others are... Most of them are closing in on a 15-foot area in all directions at this point.
Okay. I am going to use my staff, and I'm going to basically use a wall of fire about 10 feet in front of me, just to kind of like keep anything that's over there, and deal with whatever we have here.
Oh, smart.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, you're putting the wall of fire facing towards the hospital, not the way you were going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Alrighty. The wall, suddenly the hallway, it bursts into flame as the entire entryway is covered, or the entire archway is just illuminated by this bright light, and you hear a bunch of screeching from further down the hall as the light wakes them up. But you also start hearing this and this loud, wet popping noise.
They're popping like wood ticks in fire.
Yep. Yep. I know how much damage that spell does. You didn't need to roll.
Okay.
Yes. So while you have probably woken up the entire colony, there's also a wall of fire they have to get through. So, good news?
Great news.
Which also separates most of them from you guys. So, even better news. Okay. There are a couple of them. There are 3 of them left on this side of the wall of fire, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I don't think I have anything I can do on a bonus action, so I think that's it.
What kind of armor are you 2 wearing?
Basic starter leather.
Basic light armor.
All right. Well, you 2 were the wrong 2 to throw these against. I mean, what? Zan, 2 of them close in on you, and I need an opportunity attack against one of them, and the other one gets a 15, which I don't think hits you anyways.
It does not. And I've got a 29 to hit.
That hits, and because it's his turn, you can get sneak attack damage.
Yay! Here come all the dice. Oh, I dropped one. Shoot. Oh, that's a 4. 10, 22, 23, 23 plus 7, 30.
As he comes in to bite you, he opens up his mandibles, and you see an opportunity to just stab him in the face. And it bursts out of his back as the blade extends inside of him. And then you withdraw your tiny dagger. And he dies.
Yay!
Darwin, does a 12 hit you as the other one tries to bite at your boot?
Unfortunately, yes.
Alrighty. So as it bites you, you feel its mandible close around your boot for 8 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And now we're back at the top with Zan, because all the other ones are on the other side of the wall of fire, and their turns don't matter right now.
Oh, okay. So everything on this side of the wall is dead?
No, there's still 2 left.
Okay. Is there one close enough that I can stab?
Yeah, there's one that just tried to bite you.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's that one. Yeah, I'm gonna attempt my my stab green flame blade again.
All right, stab green flame blade.
15 to hit?
I gotta double check that. Yes, that is a hit.
Okay.
And
Darwin's still next to me?
Yep, you guys, I mean, it's a 10-foot hallway. They can't surround you if you're, I mean, they can, but they can't surround you as easily if you're together.
Yeah. 10,
You hear another
18, 19, 26 piercing. And 15 fire.
Jesus, it is dead.
Yeah.
As you stab the blade in, the fire erupts around it and loosens the blade so that you can pull it out.
Was the other one within 5 feet of that one?
No. It's on the other side of you.
Okay, it's safe from the fire then. I'm going to stay where I am, hold my ground.
All right, Darwin. There's one left that he tried to bite you, or just did bite you.
I'm just going to throw a lightning bolt at it and hopefully be done with this.
Jesus Christ. All right, does he make a save for that one again?
Dexterity saving throw.
Roll your damage. You got 4. I don't need to know what your modifier, what your DC is. You got 4.
Okay.
Man, you build a terrible character to have a spellcasting DC of 4. It gives you 8.
9.
9 points of...
9 was first roll, and then 16 total. That's bad rolls.
You blast it with the lightning, and it causes it to shuffle backwards a couple feet. And you can see the burn marks on it are quite substantial. But it's not dead.
Oh, it will be.
On its next turn, it begins skittering up the wall, trying to find a place to hide from you. Zan, what would you like to do?
I'm crawling up the wall after it. I've got a spider cloak that lets me go up walls and ceilings.
So the halfling takes off up the wall after this thing. You are unable to catch up to it as it does have a bit of a head start.
Are you sure? Because I've got a movement of 25 feet for climbing, and then I could always dash and then stab.
You're right, you can do that as a bonus action. Never mind, you definitely catch up to this thing that is running away. And you notice as your passive perception's ridiculous. You notice that the cover on its backside is more dried out where it was hit with lightning.
Ooh. I'm going to aim for that.
All right.
29 to hit.
Jesus fuck. They have 14 AC. Yes.
I rolled an 18 and I've got a plus 11 to hit.
As you stab into it, the skin doesn't part where your blade hits. The entire burn piece kind of collapses at the edges, but the blade still extends and drives it in like a hammer.
Oh. That's
Roll
interesting.
me your damage.
9. Because I don't get any bonus, right?
No, you would not, because he's up on the ceiling. However, that is enough to finish him off before he's able to flee as he falls off the ceiling and hits the floor with a thunk and a crack.
Can I backflip down?
Me and
21.
Acrobatics check.
Yep.
Okay, so you backflip down onto the ground. The firewall is still burning. You occasionally do hear another from the other side of the firewall. What do you do?
I say we leave.
Got like a solid 50 seconds on this wall before it all comes crashing down on us.
Yeah, might as well get out of here.
All right, so you guys go through the gate. That again, you notice the multiple latches that are on this door that are exceedingly complex, but not for a door that isn't locked. But you open up the gate and then get yourselves on the other side, and you're able to close it up without any problems, and make your way back to Balthazar's Balthazar's tower.
Is he still there?
Yeah, you are able to track him down. You haven't been gone that long. However, he's no longer in the main court. His servants lead you up to one of the private gardens on the upper levels. And you see him sitting inside this room that is an indoor fungal garden.
Oh, that
doesn't require any light.
Eat them.
He says, "Granddaughter, you have returned so soon. I am surprised."
Well, our friend Gregory, he happens to be something of a prophet, and he said some very concerning things amidst his babbling. I didn't catch it all, but I thought I should return immediately to tell you that he spoke. He spoke of the sunless noon, and I believe that's the eclipse that you want to be married under. And he's talking about church bells ringing, and he spoke of faceless ones coming from underground.
He sits there and he takes a tiny watering can and he's gently watering a couple of these mushrooms. And he says, and if you were to put your thinking cap on, who do you think these faceless ones would be?
The clay mask cultists.
Very good. He turns to a servant that was hiding behind a giant fungal growth and he says, have a scribe sent to Gregory's room in the hospital. Write down anything that appears legible out of his lips. The servant quickly excuses themselves to go make arrangements. Can you try and remember anything else?
No. That's all I managed to scribble down.
He nods. So these cultists wish to strike during the wedding, which means they have a mole here in the city to know that there is the wedding.
I was actually about to ask that question.
It would only make sense, but who?
Who would stand to gain from your sudden and incredible loss?
There are always several. The problem with being on top is someone's always trying to take you down. We have two options ahead of us. He turns and looks at you. We can plan. I am not changing this wedding. This wedding is going to happen. At this point, Lupini, you have by this point picked out everything and been sized up and have returned to your husband-to-be to let him know what the price tag is going to be, which we're not going to put a number on that because that's more math than I want to do right now. Lots. You're asking for a very custom item. As they're talking in the mushroom garden, that you didn't know your husband-to-be had an entire mushroom garden.
Yeah, are any of them the good kind?
I mean, you can start eating them and find out. There's like 4 different varieties, one of which is almost as tall as you.
Caleb, next session, we're going to go on a big acid trip.
Yeah, mushroom trip.
That could be done. If that is what you'd like to do, we will definitely talk about that between sessions, because that would take some planning.
Yeah, that's why I figured I'd warn you.
Balthazar then says, we have 2 choices ahead of us. Either we prepare and wait for them to come to us, or we take the fight to them.
I have a side question. Who have you told that you're changing your wedding date? Aside from, obviously, the 3 of us in this room.
He pauses. Thinking, he goes. He pauses, thinking, and then says, the man that just left the room, my scribe, he knows. A few people in court know. Only 3 or 4 people would know.
The scribe now is most concerning because you just sent him to the prophet. If he is the one, he could very well do away with the prophet before we get any more information.
Follow him. If anything suspicious happens, you have my consent to do whatever is necessary.
Zan basically just turns around and bolts after. She's not too worried if anyone's coming or not. She's just going.
I'm going to follow that.
Is it dark enough yet that I can take the streets?
No, it's still like 6 o'clock.
What if I wear just a big hat?
I mean, you could hop in a burlap sack.
All right.
Is there a suitable size, like, box or something you just grab and go?
Here's an idea. You have servant. I can't tell you what to do, but
hey, can we just hire a carriage to take us there?
Good. Yes, you most certainly can. One of the carriages is brought around from the back that they keep on hand in case, someone from the royal family is wanting to go somewhere. It isn't the most lavish one in the garage. However, it is still like fine plush blue seats with a lacquered wood on the outside and curtains that are blackout curtains that you're able to get into under shade. As soon as you enter into the carriage, the driver immediately starts heading out of the yard as he leans back in. My apologies for the rough start. Your Majesties, I was informed this was urgent, and I thought we'd get going. Where are we going?
To the hospital, as quick as you can get us there. A man's life may be in danger.
As you command. And you hear him as he's going, clear the way! Clear the way, as you're taking the most bumpy ride you have ever taken in a carriage. You're not sure if the man is a carriage driver or a chariot jockey, but you are making some damn good time.
I kind of imagine Zan just like bouncing around on the seat, trying to hold on to something so she's not flying all over the place.
And about 15 minutes later, you come to a halt, and we're outside of the hospital. Your Majesties, would you like me to wait here for you?
No, that's all right. You can return to the manor.
As you command, Your Majesties. As always, it was a pleasure. He gives a bow from his seat and gets down, opens up the door for you.
I toss him a gold piece as I dash for the hospital door.
I shake his hand and follow suit.
Sam very much so is trying to cover herself and stick to the shadows, and you do get a little bit of sunburn that goes away rather quickly.
It only hurts for a moment.
You make your way through the hospital. How are you going through the hospital? Are you quietly going, or are you...
At this point, I'd like to go quietly. I'd especially like to bypass the gate just to see if anyone has touched it since we were last through there. And then I'll probably stop and look for the nurse that I tipped so well before and ask her if she has seen the scribe.
The nurse that's in the basement?
Oh yeah, I forgot she was all the way down there. Never mind, I'll skip that part.
I mean, there is a front desk where you see what looks like an intake worker of some sort with a really long sheet of paper and a bunch of names on it.
I will walk up to the intake worker and I will smile apologetically and I'll say, "Excuse me, I'm so sorry for interrupting your work, but I was just wondering if you had seen this man come through here, and I'll describe the scribe." Oh wow, what a sentence. I'll describe the scribe.
At least you're not trying to describe a scribe to a scribe.
Right?
And not trying to ascribe any sort of character to him. I'll stop now. You ask him about whether anyone's come in. He goes, we did have a man from the king here quite recently. He said he was sent to check on one of our patients. So we of course escorted him upstairs just a few minutes ago.
Was he alone?
Oh, good point.
Yes, he was. Why?
Oh, we were just supposed to meet him.
Okay. Well, yes, he's gone up to the room. You should be able to meet him there. Would you like a guide to take you up there?
No thanks. We know the way.
Very well. If you need anything else, I shall be here. He goes back to his paperwork of organizing patients from one list to another.
Yeah, I'm gonna head for the stairs and go as quick as I can.
Which is pretty fast when you want it to be.
Yeah.
All right, you make your way down the hall amid the coughs and the moans of other people who have been admitted to the hospital. Up on the second floor, there's more private rooms. As you make your way down the end of the hall, you get to Gregory's room. You try the handle. The door's locked.
I'm gonna pick it.
Make me lockpick check? No, that's not what it's called. Dexterity plus proficiency.
16 plus 4. 20. Not natural.
Megan?
Oh, 20.
20. The door pops open like butter as you just grab the tools and just put them in, click as it pops open. It's a hospital door, not a vault.
Yeah.
And the door swings open, and you see the servant from Balthazar's scribe in the room as he looks over at you, and you see a long dagger in his hand. The look of fear crosses his eyes.
Okay, I'm gonna do something I've never done before. Oh wait, how close am I to him?
The room's only like a 10 by 10 room.
So can I stab him from where I'm standing, or do I need to take a chance and throw it?
I mean, you could definitely cross the room. With one square, you would be within reach of every other square in the room, so...
Okay, I just want to make sure I get him before he, kills the prophet.
Alrighty. So you're going to try and stab him with your sword. What are the other two of you doing as you open up the door and see him standing over the old man with a dagger in his hand?
I was going to cast slow.
Oh.
All right. And Lupini, what are you doing in this moment? You just opened the door and this is what you see. You don't know what the other two are about to do.
I'm just going to do my thing and play the background and see how it plays out.
So you're blocking the door so there's no other escape other than the second story window. Gotcha. Alrighty, so as the spell is woven, as you lunge across the room, you see him, his turning to face you suddenly slows down as he turns to face the blade plunging into his chest, spewing out the other side as he sits there with his mouth open, gurgling blood slowly out his mouth. was a clerk. You had no chance of missing. He lies dying on the floor, the wound leaking out the front and the back.
I'm actually going to cast Healing Word, because I don't want him to die. I want to get information from him.
That's actually really smart. I'll tie him up.
Alrighty, you cast Healing Word on him, which keeps him from dying outright as you're tying him up. And as you're tying him up, you notice, like, after the healing, he's attempting to struggle, but his reaction time to what you're doing doesn't seem correct. Like, you grab his hand and move it around and get it tied to the other one, and then it tries to make the motion as though from when you first grabbed it. Of course, hearing the commotion, several hospital staff come into the room, and as seeing the spilled blood on the floor, one of the staff shrieks and runs down the hall. One doctor walks in and goes, "What is the meaning of this? What is going on?"
And I turn and I hold my hand up. Stop. We are here under the King's orders. This is King's business.
Doctor looks around the room, turns around and goes, "Everybody back to their posts. And send for Director Waterton. Tell him there's immediate attention. If you could all just wait here for the director, he just will want to be updated on what he can be updated on. I don't want to ask too many questions because I'm just a doctor. And thank you. Bye." Having heard tales of the Queen's horse, he does not want to get on her bad side.
I look over at Lupini and I'm like, man, being able to say that we're here on King's business, man, does that carry some weight. It's awesome.
For real.
So you have him here. I mean, Gregory's still, like, asleep. He's kind of mumbling in his sleep, but nothing near as clear as what he had been saying.
Yeah, I'll make sure he's covered up and everything before we interrogate this guy. Let him sit in his own pee for a while.
So yeah, you do have a few minutes here where the director hasn't entered the room yet. Is there something you would like to do now, or are you going to wait to take him somewhere else?
I'm actually going to kneel down in front of him, and I'm going to flip my dagger in my fingers, and then I'm going to smile so that he sees my fangs, even though obviously he'd be, at least somewhat acquainted with me and who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll lean forward a little bit, and I'll say, "So, do you want to see a little bit closer what my dagger can do when I touch it to your skin?"
He tries to, like, back up, even though he's tied up. He tries to back up just a little bit and realizes he's up against a wall and there isn't a whole lot of places to go. Don't kill me, please don't kill me.
Does he have shoes on?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Well, you see, this dagger, it gets bigger when it touches skin. It's, you might say it gets excited. So what I'm going to do, if you don't tell me what we want to know, is I'm going to take your boots off, and I'm going to touch my dagger to your big toe. And then I'm going to touch my dagger to your little toe. And I'm just going to work my way around your body. Of course, I won't do all of that here. If you don't answer our questions, I will certainly take you to a secondary secure location. And Then I'll just start touching maybe a finger, maybe an ear. I hope you're not too attached to your nipples. So what do you say? Answer some questions?
You can. His eyes are wide, and he goes, but if I say anything, they'll kill me.
Well, that's the chance you'll have to take.
As he's like sitting there panicking, you hear the door handle open, and a short man, like he's maybe a foot taller than Zan is, but he is human. Very portly and round man, like barely fits through the door, comes in wearing a doctor's outfit, and he closes the door as he turns around, takes off his spectacles and puts them inside of his pocket. And Director Wellerton here. My staff has told me you are here on King's business, but I must know what this scoundrel. He's obviously being arrested on the King's business, but he broke into my hospital and has done something terrible that is none of my business. But
well, sir, I'm not certain that he actually broke in. He just walked in. But
you
yes.
see the man like, crinkle his mustache, and he looks at the dagger still on the floor. Looks at the man. Meant harm to a patient.
Oh, yes. And I was just about to explain to him here how I once carved the left testicle out of a fleeing cannibalistic dwarf and attempted to feed it to a jackal who didn't really want it. Can't blame him.
The director looks at the man, looks at all of you, and says, "This breach of security will be treated with great seriousness. I apologize, and if there's anything my staff can assist you with, we will be more than happy to accommodate."
Director, I assure you, this man would have gotten in here one way or another. He more than likely said that he was here at the King's behest, and that was no lie. It was only after he departed and headed here did we realize his deception, and we came to stop him. I don't actually believe it is the fault of anyone in your hospital that he made it all the way up to the room.
He still sits there and goes, "This is still quite concerning, but very well. Would you, to not cause a scene, would you perhaps like to take this man out on a stretcher?"
That would be brilliant.
Very well, we shall have one arranged. I hope most of you have a pleasant evening. I have placed a security guard outside of the door to keep an eye on this patient, as he seems to be of interest to not very nice people.
Zan thanks him.
So a couple of orderlies bring up a levitating levitating bed stretcher that you're able to manhandle the person onto with threats of even more violence.
Oh yeah, I keep the dagger out where he can see it.
How are you going to get back to the house?
Well, I assume there's some kind of messenger service that we can send for a carriage.
That is true. You can send for a carriage. It would just take some waiting.
Yep.
Which would increase the anticipation of your soon-to-be victim.
Yeah, anticipation is sometimes worse than the actual torture. And as big a game as Zan talks, she's not really going to enjoy torturing him, but she will 100% do whatever she can, including torture, if it means keeping the wedding and her friend Lupini safe.
Word.
Hell yeah.
And I feel like a torture session might be more than 3 minutes.
Probably.
I think this is probably a good place to cut it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And then we will pick up again next week, where we will begin slicing toads off the spec.